The other thing I realize is I am never taking investment because investors destroy people's lives. If you run a business and have investors, you don't own your business. You're working for the investors. It's like an alternative corporate job, basically.
I've learned this when I was in a startup. And that's why after I left and I started, I was like, I'm going to try to be bootstrapped if I can. And honestly, most people can. It's just, especially now with technology, I mean, there's very few businesses where you actually need money. Jonathan, what's up? Welcome to the show.
Hello, Ran Segal.
Haven't seen you in so long, my friend.
I know. Wow. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Wow. Nothing has changed and so much have changed in the same time. And it's like, I checked out your website to see all the new funnels, all the new content so that we can dive and drill into that.
Did you see that we changed the website? Literally last night, we changed the website.
I was going to ask you about it. Are you? Yeah, I saw it today, right now.
Okay, yeah. I changed it, not because of this podcast, but because there's big changes happening at AJ&Smart.
Yeah, I want to hear about the strategy because I was like, hey, there's the Workshopper website, but that looks not up to date. And now everything is back on AJ&Smart. So I wanted to hear what's going on, like, what are your thinking?
What's happening?
All of that. Yeah, what's happening? And you've tried so many things since we last spoke. You had a mastermind, you had a podcast, you're trying new stuff all the time.
Yeah, I thought you meant the drugs that I tried.
Did you also try drugs? Which drugs did you try?
I'm not talking about that.
Oh, you're not talking about that? Okay. I'm open to talking about everything, but
so I am a little bit like I'm one of those people who's kind of like scared of drugs. You know, like when everyone else is taking drugs, I'm like really scared of it. And always like kind of, I don't know, it's probably just I have a lot of fear around my brain being broken or something. So actually I have tried things, but I'm very non-adventurous when when everyone's off doing their ayahuasca trips and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm like, no.
So I was scared as well, really scared about, messing with my mind. And then I read the book, the How to Change Your Mind. Did you read that? Michael Pollan book. Yeah. And that got me really curious. And so I've, pretty recently did like a trip experience. And that was really interesting. Yeah.
What, like psilocybin or something, is it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Very, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We can talk for hours about that, but that's a different
Are you topic. At one with the world now?
You know what? That was my goal. That was, you need to set goals for it. Like I did. My number one goal is I want to know what it feels like to be one with the world. I don't think that's what's happened, but it was very interesting nonetheless.
You came out of it and you're like, I love cocaine.
No, actually, you know what? I came out of it. I came out of it because missing my family, actually, because I felt like I haven't seen them for years and years. So I was like, cute. Yeah, that was actually cute.
You have two kids, right?
I've got two kids, and I was like, I really needed a long vacation. So I was always fantasizing of, I wish I could go for like a year in India right now, but you can never do it if you have small kids and a business and all of that. And then I was just like, over this weekend, and had like 5 years over a weekend. I was like, okay, I'm good to come back now. I had a very long break, and now I'm ready.
It's like time dilation.
Yeah, that was crazy. Very crazy.
It's interesting. Yeah. The thing with kids, or the thing this thing you said, like, I need a break. I need a long break. What I've been trying to do, what I think is another solution to this is having 2 apartments. I mean, it's obviously very extreme.
2 what?
2 apartments, 2 places where you live.
Oh,
I know this setup. I'm not going to go into the details of my setup, but I don't think you necessarily always need to have I think a lot of people, they think about things way too big and way too like, I'm going to take 6 months and move to Bali, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why don't you just rent an Airbnb for 6 months and use it every so often and find a rhythm that actually works for you? Because sometimes the rhythm that you're just trying to force into your life, like, I'm going to take these huge breaks and then I'm going to be all on, those things maybe are not natural to the way you want to live. For me, for example, I I find that it's easier to experiment with small little things, to especially with kids, right? I mean, I'm always trying to figure out my daughter. I love my daughter, but also sometimes I'm like, okay, obviously I need a break now, but then I'm like, oh, but I need to take 3 days just to get my headspace. But usually after half a day, I'm like, no, I'm actually good again.
Yeah.
And so sometimes for me, it is just about finding a rhythm and a different way of doing things. I, for example, don't like vacations so much. And so
But you've been fortunate enough, I think, because you have a team, you were able to kind of like take off for like a month or not go to work for a month and have your team working and you come back and everything's
I pretty
fine.
much took a year and a half off, dude. Did you see my unscheduled CEO podcast that I gave up on immediately? I basically, honestly have been working from about January 2021 till about summer this year. I definitely dramatically reduced how much interaction I had with AJ&Smart. Which also was very good because I was trying to rethink my position in the company and what am I doing in my life. So yeah, definitely having a team and having someone like Laura, who's still here at AJ&Smart, running everything and actually producing revenue and profits is just a game changer.
Yeah, that's very fortunate.
Obviously,
Okay.
loads of stuff broke, and now I'm trying to fix it, but and not on Laura's team necessarily, but um,
So
still,
you still,
yes,
so
I
let
took.
explain your business to me right now. So you used to have AJ&Smart
Hello.
doing agency work and you and the workshop are doing training and courses and stuff like that. Is it all merged into one right now? Like what's
Yeah.
the new website
Okay, I
kind of
can already.
hides away a little bit the agency stuff. So is that, did you give up on that?
Okay, so first of all, I can already tell the comments if you have a lot of designers following you, because our channel used to be more designer focused, and they're going to be complaining about the fact that we're rambling and we're not getting to the point.
I don't care.
So I'm going to drag it out even longer. Uh, they would have
The only
wanted.
comment in my YouTube video is, Ron, stop talking. You're interrupting your guests. I'm like, this is my show. This is how I
I
speak.
want to do it like this. Yeah, I'm always wondering like why YouTube, like YouTube's free, and you're putting out these videos for free. Like, why do they think you'll just read that and go, okay? It's like, this is my hobby that I want to do. Like, it's not. I don't know. It's not making AJ&Smart a crap ton of money to put out YouTube videos. It's also just part of. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. So what does AJ&Smart do? We are the facilitation company. We, on the front end, what we're focused on is, number one, we help teams at companies to, well, basically we help people at companies to become facilitators.
But
Facilitators
you're
are,
not doing facilitation yourself anymore?
we are, yeah. So, but the front end, like what we talk about. So yeah, for the last 13 years, the company is 13 years old, by the way. For the last 13 years, we've been basically a mixture of a consultancy and a training company. Consulting meaning we were UX design agency, then we focused on design sprints with UX design, and then we're training teams at companies how to run design sprints, and then we realized there's a broader thing here, and we started training teams at companies to run collaboration sessions, and then we are like, oh, there's a word for this, it's facilitation. And it was our clients basically telling us, what you're doing is teaching us facilitation. So then for the last 3 years, we actually properly into facilitation, built facilitation training programs, made sure everyone at AJ&Smart is like an expert facilitator, trained them up on every training you can possibly imagine. And yeah, today we make most of our revenue from either helping large groups of people at large companies learn facilitation and then figure out how to integrate that into their organization, which basically just in a nutshell is we teach people how to run collaborative, if a team comes together to solve problems, we can teach someone to run that session so it runs easier and better. And then the other thing is, you can just buy, if you're an individual, you can also join one of our programs, which will teach you not just how to be a facilitator, but how to make that your job and get clients.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, like my analysis is, previously you had an agency and education. Now it's basically
Right.
all education, but it's like B2B for teams, and the B2C for customers is the online courses.
We'll still do agency stuff, but not we don't necessarily we don't want to do a lot of it.
Got it.
Because it's not the type. So what I love about, so we did a 1,600 person training maybe 3 weeks ago in Memphis. I don't know if we're allowed to say for who, but I think we can, maybe. It was for this big hospital in Memphis. If you search for big hospital in Memphis, you'll find it. And that has a much bigger impact on the entire business than us running one design sprint for 5 people. Of course, not every single person comes out of a
Does that mean
training or
you
a
get
session
more
like
money
that.
for it as well?
No. Oh, well, okay. So the money side of it, which is very important to me, I don't want to make it seem like that's not important. What I actually mean is that stuff actually really changes in the company when the individual employees learn this stuff. And that's really fun for my team and I to see. That's actually something that keeps us excited about it. Whereas if we run one design sprint at a big bank, that one tiny team gets exposed to it, forgets about it, and then a year later we meet them and they're back to exactly where they were. So yeah, I just find it more enjoyable to come back to that hospital and realize. So when my team arrived there, I wasn't personally there. It was my sister, by the way, who works at AJ&Smart now. It was her and Tim and Steve and Molly. Why did I start saying everyone's name? They ran the workshop. And when they came back, my sister was like, so they were crying. They were like so excited about it. They were like, oh my God, I can't believe we had the opportunity to do this. When we arrived, the employees were already running the workshops we'd been teaching them in the course, because we can also provide them with courses and all that kind of stuff. And that's a very different vibe to when the team comes back from running a UX project or a design sprint. It's like, yeah, it was cool. I need to sleep for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
you.
I think it's just we don't like doing the agency stuff as much.
But one thing that I was
Oh, sorry, and the money thing. You asked the money thing, and I don't want to ignore that you asked the money thing. This makes more money.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, obviously 1,600 people. But one thing that I was thinking about is, when I made the switch from, being a service provider to so for a while I was doing both online courses and still doing freelance. But then I was like, okay, if I want to be able to focus, I'm a one-man show. I can't manage them both like you did. I'm going to focus only on the education. And my fear was, now I'm only doing education and training. I'm going to lose touch with the actual craft. And, so, and I was always looking up for you for building this kind of like a model where, you both have the feet on the ground and also the education. So are you not concerned about losing that?
We still have every single day client projects.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's just not what we're talking about on the front end. So, yesterday I'm still talking to corporates to companies every single day, actually doing the facilitation. We actually have specific design projects going on. We just don't want to talk about it on the front end. But is that
it's a strategy to maintain doing it, or is it a strategy to kind of close this down the line?
So the thing is, so maybe 4 years ago, I went on Chris Do's podcast and he was like, you should just shut down the agency part and focus on the education part.
You should just do what I did. See, it worked great for me. You should just do what I did.
And he was like, you're going to end up shutting it down. And I was like, no, because I need it for the, the experience. And he was like, you already have 10 years of running these things. You don't need to keep proving to people over and over again that you know how to do this thing. And so I don't care much about the fact that because we're focusing around being a facilitation learning company, and we have been for the last few years, I don't care so much about keeping everyone sharp. We keep ourselves sharp by being the teachers, who we have to live up to a client spending a lot of money on us. And so we cannot disappoint them and we cannot give them a shit training, because this training, they do other trainings with other companies too. So we're competing. And so, yeah, we keep up to date we keep sharp by having to deliver an excellent training. But also, yeah, we have had now so far 13 years of doing this also as consultants. But, at a certain point, I am fine if we do not consult again. It's honestly, look at our website. You
So
can't
Chris was right. So Chris won.
Chris Do is always right.
I should have known.
Chris Do is always
right. There's also,
I
it's funny because there's I did a coaching call with him that was recorded on this video channel, and a lot of people saw this, and that's kind of like how they, I don't know, discovered me, I guess. And on this call, it was before I started doing courses. And he basically said, "Oh, maybe you're going to use your YouTube to make money." And I was like, no, because I had a SaaS project back in the time. And I was like, no, I don't want to make YouTube is for fun. And he was like, no, I think you're going to make money from the YouTube. And he was right about that as well. But I was very dismissive on the call, I think. Okay, that's an interesting thing.
Well, at least we have recordings of us being wrong when Chris Do tells us stuff. You should call this episode Chris Do is always right.
Okay, let me write that down.
Because anything with his name generally does better, you know?
Chris,
no one's going to give a shit about me being on your show, but
this is such a good point. I was thinking something like, we're about to reveal all of our business secrets, but Chris Do is right. Maybe that's maybe that's a good one. Yeah. Last time I saw you in person was in 2019 when you did like the event, and I came to Berlin and Chris Do came to Berlin, and we were in this dinner together. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
That was the last time I saw you in person.
Oh my God.
So we were
Chris was telling us a story about fishing, a fishing trip. I remember that. This is a flashback I have.
Exactly right. Salmon or something like this. Yes, I remember.
He went fishing with his team. I remember there was a story.
Yes.
Fishing with his team. I was deeply involved. I'm actually going to be meeting Chris. I'm going to LA in 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
And unless I say something bad in this video about it, no, I'm just kidding. I'm going to be hanging out with Chris. Hopefully, I'm going to be hanging out with a couple of fun people that I can introduce you to as well. Who I know you know Chris already, but there's a couple of other people. I don't want to say their names on this because then it's going to seem like I'm name dropping, and also if they don't want to meet me, then it will be really embarrassing. But yeah. Oh, no one worries, person, Sam Ovens. I'm going to hang out with Sam.
I was going to say, I was going to ask you if you're going to see Sam, but I didn't know if you want to say. Yeah,
I'm going to hang out with Sam.
Yeah. Are you still in his mastermind? No,
he shut it down.
Yeah. Okay, right.
He shut it down. Right, so now I'm in one of his students, which is a guy called Blake Lagrange. So he has a mastermind called Partners. Dude, it's fucking excellent.
Really? Nice.
It has helped me. He's very different to Sam, but honestly, I don't even want you to join it because the stuff that's in those calls is so private and so personal. It's bad.
Really?
Like, I hate that these calls
I have to tell you again, I have a lot of respect for Sam, but his mastermind wasn't helpful for me, perhaps even harmful in a way, because I know it worked. It was very helpful for you, I guess, in terms of the transition to selling using sales calls and stuff like that was helpful for you.
Yes.
But for me, I was also influenced by that, tried that and failed miserably with that, because for my audience, for what I'm trying to teach, it doesn't work. It's not a one solution that fits everything. And I felt like in that kind of like scenario, everybody was trying to sell a single solution for all problems, which I don't feel is the case.
It was the VSL funnel. It was basically the VSL funnel mastermind.
No, that was before that. It was before that. No. Before that, they were just doing, courses, like high paid courses. This was before.
No. I mean that Sam's mastermind is focused around building a VSL call booking funnel.
Exactly.
Everyone, including me, built that funnel, and then it was about optimizing that funnel.
Exactly. So for me, it wasn't very helpful.
But it's cool that you know what I think is cool. You invested in it. You tried it.
Yeah.
And I think that's so for me. What's interesting is Ran, for anybody listening, Ran actually was in Sam's Quantum Mastermind. By the way, a mastermind, for anyone who doesn't know, is like a group of, it can be 20 to 100 people paying way too much money to all be in a very high level Zoom
Let's
call
say it
every
was,
week.
I think it was 30K. I think I paid 30K a year to be in that mastermind.
I paid 48,000 a year because I was paying for Laura's one as well. So yeah, but that's insanely expensive to be in it every year. And what happens is you're then in a Zoom call with all these people who are running high level businesses just because of the cost of entry. And usually there's like a guru at the center of it who's already more successful than you are.
Do you
And you're
want,
just
do you
trying
want
to
to know, do you want to know what was one of my immediate reactions in this group? Was like, oh, there's people here who are making way more money than me, but they are, I don't want to say dumber, but significantly not as intelligent, like asking like very rudimentary,
what is the
basic
internet.
questions. Like, anyway, so
But
that
that's
was kind of
cool.
like my
But that's
insight.
cool.
Wow.
I love, one of the biggest, I think one of the best ways to become successful, or one really interesting way to become successful is to meet people who are very successful and realize not that necessarily that they're dumb, but realize, oh, like I am not a lot dumber than this person.
Exactly.
Because it
Exactly. This was
sometimes I feel,
valuable.
yeah, that's really valuable. But I will say, I found Sam's mastermind very useful. That's why I stayed in for 3 years or something. What I found useful about it was just so I only joined maybe one event and maybe one or two calls in the beginning. I asked questions, but from that point on, what I was doing was just watching the successful people and trying to understand why they're successful. And sometimes when I had a question, like it could be once every 4 months, I had a question maybe, and just being able to get a very quick answer to that question rather than having to hire an agency, it was super helpful. What I will say, Blake's partners mastermind, by the way, I don't get anything. Neither me nor Ran get any money if you join these things, and they are insanely expensive, and I cannot say, I don't know if it's worth it or not to you guys, but his one is really different to Sam's. He's sold one of his companies already, and he's like got a portfolio of businesses, and there's no focus on a funnel. It's just general business building in the education space. I think it is the
With different business
responsible.
models or a single business
Everyone, yeah,
model?
really, no, different business models. So
Mm.
you'll have people in there. He sold a company which was about like teaching people to produce. It was like music production. He sold a music
Interesting.
production
Yeah.
thing, and yeah, the business models are all over the place, but it's still in the education sphere. I don't know if this is
Interesting.
interesting to anyone
So
listening on
you've
YouTube, but
also you've also recommended me EO, which is Entrepreneurs Organization. It's kind of
yes,
like a global organization. In a
yes,
way, it's kind of like a mastermind as well. You pay like a yearly fee, and you're being assigned to they call it the forum, which is again like around 8
I
business
don't think it's like
people.
a mastermind because
You know?
you're not allowed to actually give advice.
Yeah, true. It's a different, okay, so it's a different concept. Let me just
It's a
explain the
therapy.
concept.
It's
So
more like therapy.
it's true. Okay, it's true. So but you've recommended this to me. I know that you've left later on, but you've recommended it to me. I joined last year, and I was this in a year for a year.
Are you in?
This was
You were in EO.
I was in EO for a year, and now I
Ah,
didn't I renewed, and then my forum collapsed for multiple reasons, and then I decided I don't want to join a new forum and until you build all the relationship. So I refunded like a couple of weeks after I renewed. So I was there for a year.
ah,
It was also interesting because unlike the mastermind where everybody's in the education space, I was in a forum with business owners from, real estate and restaurants and all kinds of different companies.
yes.
And most of the time, like you're talking about therapy, I was going there every month. It was kind of like a few hours every month. I go there and there were no takeaways for me. I wouldn't write any notes. There were no learnings for me, but I've had a very strong sense of, oh my God, people have such bigger problems than me. Like their
Yes.
businesses are a hell. I'm in such an easy business. Oh my God.
Yes.
It's just like huge appreciation, or it's
Same.
not, Yeah, really.
Or dude, the worst was, for me, I was like, I was in EO for 4 years, and I quit this year. Um, the other thing I realized is I am never taking investment because investors destroy people's lives. Like the conversations every week was often like, yeah, so this is the thing I'm having the problem with, this investor and this investor and this investor and this investor, and I'm just like, fuck, that sounds like my actual hell. I realize running a small business without it, if you run a business and have investors, you don't own your business. You're working for the investors. Like it's
Yeah.
not a, it's like an alternative corporate job, basically.
I've learned this when I was in a startup, and that's why after I left and I started, I was like, I'm going to try to be bootstrapped if I can. And honestly, most people can. It's just, especially now with technology, I mean, there's very few businesses where you actually need money.
With EO, just a question, did you find it useful for me, what I found really useful is that they teach you how to like speak and like express emotions. Expressing emotions is like a big part of EO. You start with the like
so for me,
in
that's easy. I don't know if
that's
it's
easy.
because
Okay.
I'm based in Israel or I'm just very open and upfront. I think that a key value proposition for these types of people was their ability to have kind of like a closed circle where if the first thing they say is everything we say here is a secret.
Yeah,
You can
everything's
feel
a
free
secret.
to say the truth. And a lot of
I'm
people
even a bit
who,
nervous talking about it now because it does have a culty vibe.
yeah, no, it's not a cult divide, but it's just like we're going to share our business secrets here,
Yeah.
and nobody's going to talk about that. And I respect that. But for me, I have no problem sharing my intimate, real secrets
Yes.
with a lot of my friends. Like I will
And
share everything
and
with you
on
right now,
YouTube.
including
Yeah,
my,
me too.
exactly. And so
Same.
for me, it was just like, it wasn't anything new. It was just new perspective from the other people. But I have my outlet, like my emotional outlet. Um, yeah, it was actually more therapy. A lot of times we talked about the balancing the family and life and
Yes.
your stress
Yes.
with kids and wife and that kind of stuff. So
That was so useful for me. Honestly, I think EO, okay, again, I have the slightly different perspective. EO was completely life changing for me.
by the way, it's worth mentioning for people who don't know, EO is not something online. This is you physically meet with
Yes.
people. Yeah.
It's called Entrepreneurs Organization. There's also a new alternative called Hampton, which this guy Sam Parr has created.
Oh, really?
He's
Never
kind of
heard of it.
positioning it as a more high-end version of EO because EO is a non-profit, which also can mean it's a bit chaotic. And there's like no
Yeah.
set, it doesn't feel like
It's
there's a lot of
volunteers. Yeah.
yeah,
Everybody
it's
who is
voluntary.
managing it is voluntary. Yeah.
Yeah, which is amazing that you can get all these huge business owners to volunteer. I was always amazed, like one of the biggest, often the volunteers were running the biggest, craziest companies with the most stress and the most staff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how? Why?
I don't have
Um,
time. I barely have time to show up, and you have time to take more responsibilities. And
yeah,
like,
it's
how can you do
epic.
that?
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I personally think every entrepreneur should do at least a year in EO as soon as their business makes more than the limit. I don't know what it is in Israel.
I think it
Do you
was
know
$1.5 million or $2 million. I think probably $1.5 million per year. I
yeah.
think was kind of like the minimum. Um,
The
there's
highest in
also
the world is
I
I
think
think
there's something that's called EO Accelerator for smaller businesses.
yeah.
There's something like
Yes.
that as well.
Yes. Look, here's a point I'd like to make if anyone's still listening to this podcast. Fucking invest in yourself, even if you don't like it. Listen to how much money Ran and I spend. This is money we could have ourselves. This 30 something K that Ran spent, he could have just taken this home, but instead he spent it on joining a mastermind that he said was okay. And I think
No, it
the
was
way I would look at it,
honestly,
all
yeah, I would say that there was no return on investment. Maybe perhaps even I lost money because I tried things that were, or I was influenced wrongly. But to me, my perspective is I make bets. I get the money and I bet with the
yes,
money, right? I put
yes,
chips on the table. It worked out very well for me previously when I invested in coaching and other things and courses. So I keep trying it. And it
yeah,
does
me
not
too.
always work. And I'm not mad at Sam or anybody else. I haven't asked for a refund. I'm like, I tried this. This didn't work out. But I'm going to try again. I'm like,
Yes.
for example, I bought one of Ramit Sethi's courses. That
Which
was
one?
It's called Double Engine Growth. I think it was like 3 years ago. Okay. It's a very
Mhm.
simple course. I think it's like, it costs $6,000. No funnel, no VSL, nothing. It's like a sales page, and then you click a button, credit card, $6,000. It was
Love,
the most,
love. I'd love to be able to do that.
exactly, right? It was the most expensive things that I've ever bought in like a single click. And
Yeah.
then you buy it, you get 3 videos. Each one of them is like 30 minutes. So it's basically you bought an hour and a half of video for $6,000. And you know what? I watched it and I gave them a testimonial. Amazing course, made huge impact. I think this course helped me get to $1 million. This course helped me. It basically focused me on a lot of things,
Yeah.
made me stop doing a lot of things, and really helped me focus to get from, I think I was previous year, I was like at 700K or something like this. And that helped me double from there. It was very, very basic, very, very short, but it got the job done. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this was money well worth. So again, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. It's okay, but yeah, you keep making bets.
I always get something, even if I buy something shitty, I always get something out of it that I don't even realize that I've gotten out of it. Like it will be 2 years later and I'm like, oh, that actually was influenced by that like one conversation I had with this person in this program. Um, for me, I always feel like there's, I don't know, I have this attitude to, I spend a lot of money also on coaches. Like I have this guy, Brian Franklin, by the way, best CEO coach on the planet, in my opinion. And I've been working with him for 2 years. He charges me, I don't know if he wants this to be public, close to $4,000 for a 90-minute session every week. Um, and every time I get off that call, I'm like, holy shit. I wish I was this. Like, this is actually, by the way, he's actually someone where have hopefully you say yes to this because otherwise you won't seem humble. Have you ever met someone and they seem so smart, you're just like shocked and you're like, oh, like this person's obviously smarter than me and it's so clear, and they just have different hardware to me. And have you ever met someone who you feel like is smarter than you, Rand?
I think one of my problems in life and my weaknesses is that I feel like I'm smarter than most people, which is a problem. But I know what you're talking about in the sense of I have a business coach who I'm working with now for 4 years, over 4 years, maybe 5 years, to 2018. I started working with him before releasing the first course. His name is Rob Hanley. I pay him, I think, $3,000 a month for a 60-minute call. And again, have been doing that for 4 years. And I don't think I would be where I am today if not for him. And now,
Rob
and with
Hanley.
him, yeah, Rob Hanley. He's amazing. I think, yeah. Anyway, so his thing is he reads tons of books.
Yeah.
And almost any problem or challenge that you throw at him, he immediately have a very clear framework for how to dissect the problem, which for me was super, super helpful. So I get, going back to the question of have I met something smarter? I don't know if it's smarter, but he has way more knowledge than I have. He has outside perspective and he can help me see things in a much clearer way. And also at this point, there's like ongoing value. He knows me for like 4 years. And I talk to him every week. It's like you can say that he's part therapist, that I see him more than I see most of my friends. So he's like, at this point, it's going to be very tough to, give this up. He has so much accumulated knowledge about my
It's like
business.
an AI that you've trained.
Exactly. It's just an eye, right? He's not artificial, but he's very intelligent and he's got all of the knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to try. By the way, I tried with ChatGPT, say, okay, you're now famous business coach. This is who you are. Now I'm going to train you and tell you all of my problems and see if that works. But it felt kind of generic, but maybe with lots and lots of training.
I don't know. ChatGPT has never given me a good answer to anything ever. I think
oh my God, I use it all the time. It's like my
Really,
best friend.
dude,
Yeah.
I look on the internet, I look at people's comments, I look at people's LinkedIn posts, and I'm like, that's ChatGPT. Or you have no personality. But people are really using it so much. I hate it. When I see
No,
someone in
but
AJ
let me give
Smart,
you a use case, which I think
yeah,
is fantastic. I read a lot of books, but then
yes,
sometimes I have either feedback challenges, sometimes where I think something is bullshit, or sometimes where I don't understand something. And there's
yeah.
not many people I can chat with about it. And in this case, I can tell him, I'm reading this book and he's saying this very stupid thing. It doesn't make sense. And I can get into a conversation with him about this.
Ah,
And it's really helpful, really helpful.
okay. I have never thought of that use case.
Yeah.
I never thought of that use case. Okay. I wanted to close my point earlier about spending money to kind of get ahead. Right now, Ran and I are saying 35,000, blah, 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 blah. But, when I was 20, I was still spending money on learning and trying to get coaches and buying books and buying courses, just way cheaper ones. I remember my first course that I ever bought was it was Noah Kagan and this guy called he owns copywritingcourse.com.
With a K,
Neville
copy with a
Medora.
K. Yeah.
Yeah, copywriting course, Neville Medora. I bought his course for like, I don't know, €60, but believe me, I did not have €60 to be buying this book because I was working in a bar. And it just is a very common thing I see amongst people who are relatively successful, is that I have multiple friends when I bought that course for €60 who are just like, you could have found that. You could have like found all those videos on YouTube, or you could have like torrented it, or you could have, and I'm like, yeah, but then that would have taken me hours, and I just want the like condensed version of it. I want information in my brain fast and effectively. And sometimes going to the source is the best way to do it. Of course, I can read I can read like The Power of Moments, or if I can afford it, maybe I can book a seat at one of the talks of one of the Chet brothers who do these talks all the time. And that will get the information into my brain quicker. So yeah, I think this habit of using your money to get knowledge and save time and get experiences and get connected to people is something I see in a lot of successful people. And in a lot of unsuccessful people, what I notice is like a nitpicking attitude, where it's like literally like, oh yeah, okay, with AJ&Smart, I can always tell if it's going to be really hard to help someone get good or build their facilitation career, if they are the type of person who's like, oh, I can just spend days doing all my own research. Of course, you don't have to buy one of our courses. Like, you can just spend the full 13 years figuring out the same things we did. That's fine. But what we offer and what our people we spend money on offer is just a shortcut. And that's what we're paying for. We're paying for a shortcut. We're paying for different perspectives. And yeah, with Sam and with the new mastermind that I'm in, I just want to talk to people who already did what I'm trying to do. Like when I'm talking to this guy, Blake, I presented him a really challenging situation 2 weeks ago, kind of like an internal political power struggle issue at AJ&Smart. And I was telling him, and I was so stressed about it. And I was like expecting him to be like, oh, like, cause when I speak to people who are not as successful as him, they also get on the boat with me and tell me how stressful it is. He listened to the whole thing. And then he was like, that's so easy. Here's what you need to do. He made me feel like it wasn't a big deal. And he showed me that it wasn't a big deal. And actually, it wasn't a big deal. But I was honestly thinking about it for months, and I just didn't realize it was causing me trouble.
Did you not talk to your business coach about it, or?
I did. My business coach, who is also amazing, is a little bit too that problem has been going on for so long. He's too integrated into it.
Got it.
And I needed to, this other guy actually runs a similar business to me, but way more successful. And so he was able to just go, oh yeah, no, that's easy. You need to do this, this, and this. And I pushed back against it. I was like, no, it's, we need to do it like this and this and this. And he was like, no, you can try all of that, but this is what's going to happen. You need to do this, this, and this. I still tried all the long, stupid stuff and it didn't work. And then I ended up making the more.
One thing that, yeah. one thing that my business coach told me about why our relationship works is he was like telling me about the clients of his that he is not going to work with them, where he knows it's not going to be a successful relationship. He says, look, you're paying me a lot of money to tell you the solution. If you want to argue against it, so if you want to argue against it or have me convince you that you need to do it, then, fuck off. Don't take my advice. But why are you paying me? And if you're paying me, take my advice and do it.
Just try it.
Yeah. And I think I'm a good, not, I don't know if to say
Good
listener,
student.
but
You just do what the person says and tries it.
Exactly.
Me too.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
I just
this is
do
such
it.
an important thing. Like, okay, I know we're stuck on this topic, but when I'm in a coaching program, let's say when I was in Sam's Quantum, I could always tell the people who are going to not be able to succeed, they are nitpicking everything he's saying. He's like, well, just try this. And they're like, well, and this, and this, and this, and this, and that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just, he says it to me and I'm like, cool. I do the thing the same night. Maybe it doesn't work, but I've already tried it. And I think I don't know, being like super, I think one of the traits that I really don't like are people who are super, super, super skeptical about everything and unwilling to try things unless they've like done a month of research to make sure it's even worth trying. It's the the measure 20 times and cut once approach. I think that's important if you're building a plane or something, but most of the time you just don't know what's going to work until you actually try it. I'm definitely, the way I run AJ&Smart is definitely, what is it? Jeff Bezos says some projects are aim, 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 then shoot. Some other projects are shoot first, then aim, 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 whatever. Yeah. I'm definitely like, I shoot first, I see where the bullet lands, and then I aim.
Me too. Me too.
Most of the time.
Me too.
Sometimes it causes problems.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to say that. So you've mentioned you're in this mastermind because it helps you to get to where you want to go. Now, remember back in 2019, when I was in your event, we had an interesting discussion with Chris Stowe about having a vision. And you were like, I don't have a vision. I just want to, keep doing what I'm doing, make more money. Do you now kind of like have a better grasp of what you want? Or is it still just like, hey, can we make more money? Can I have more profit? Is that still like the goal for you?
It's tricky because I hate all of this stuff about you need to have a vision, you need to have a why. I hate when I post something on LinkedIn and someone says something like, oh, it's because you don't have a why. I hate it. My why is I like to work. I like having something to do that I enjoy doing. And I don't like to be idle. When I'm idle and when I'm bored, I like my life less. And
this leads me exactly to the next topic that I wanted to talk to you about, but you can finish.
But yeah, so I like my life less, and I know I could follow everyone else and do meditation retreats and all of that stuff. I've tried all this stuff. I enjoy life more when I feel like I'm doing something which is challenging and which has it has to feel like it's a little bit difficult. And okay, vision, we don't have vision, mission, values, anything at AJ&Smart. If you ask any employee, they'll say something different. My vision is currently to continue being the world's best facilitation training business.
That's a pretty solid kind of like niche and a clear mission.
Yeah, it's written somewhere at AJ&Smart.
And by the way, I think, to be fair, back in 2019, you didn't had that clarity about.
I didn't know what I wanted to do. Yeah, it was totally. That's the thing. Chris and everyone was telling me I need to have a vision. I just didn't know what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to lock myself down to it. And so we don't have like, the mission is just, I don't care about the mission. If 2 years from now we are selling plants, that's fine with me as long as I find it enjoyable.
Yeah.
I like facilitation. That's fun to me if we can make money out of it. But of course, if we can't make money out of it, then we'll have a different vision.
Yeah, for sure.
Why.
No. Okay. So you're talking about how you like to work.
I love to work
and be busy. And I know you've had a lot of kind of like ranting about work-life balance. I just want to work. I don't want any balance. But then you have like the unscheduled CEO, like, oh, I don't have anything on my calendar. I could do anything.
Yes.
And yesterday, I was looking at my calendar, which is neatly packed. Exactly, I know what I need to do at every hour, which is exactly how I liked it. And
Oh, I hate that.
I was thinking to myself, what would happen if it was completely empty? And I had this feeling in my stomach, which was fear. Oh my God, I will not know what to do. I will feel the
You'll have no
guilt of not
identity anymore.
working. Yeah, no, I would be just stressing. What am I not supposed to do anything? What should I just go read a book? It's just I will feel unproductive. Like, so I wanted to ask you, do you have guilt over not working? Do you know what to do if you don't have anything on your to-do list or
No,
schedule?
I don't
Or
know what to do. And what happens, what it does, and this is something that I almost did on purpose. I very specifically stood out of the company and told the teams that I'm doing a sabbatical from January till May or something. I ended up always being called back in, but most of the time I had nothing to do. Most of the time I literally didn't even have one thing on my calendar. Um, and it was
how
weird
does
doing
that
it in
fit with you just saying that your life is better when you're busy and that you like to
well, yeah,
work and that?
that's I didn't like it. It made me feel kind of depressed.
Mm.
I felt very tired a lot, like lethargic, because I wasn't using my brain is like built for curiosity and solving problems and kind of working with groups and helping people solve things. But I needed to do it because this boredom and pain and like depressive feeling pushed me to read shit, like, but also sometimes just have a really shitty day where I watched YouTube all day, but actually that turned into interesting things as well. I did it on purpose to feel where the pain was and to figure out what I actually really want to do. Um, and I have to say that boredom and that kind of like lack of clarity and just feeling like, oh fuck, like what am I doing with my job and blah blah blah. That actually led me to a place where right now I feel extremely excited about the business in a way that I have not been since 2020 or something. I was kind of bored of the business a little bit. And you know what? I realized I wasn't bored of it. I just didn't. There were some ways that I had it set up that just really irritated me, but I didn't know it until I took a real break and neglected everything in the business and let some parts of it fall into disrepair. It also showed me like what parts of it don't work when I'm gone, which was a very clear answer. So yeah, like I don't need to work a lot, but as in I can stop. I'm on this, well, however long we want call with you, and I'm still the CEO of a very busy company. I like to not have to work. I don't want to do client work. That's why client work annoys me, because then I have to do it at a specific date and time. But I want to be excited about what I do. And I definitely, my overall happiness and satisfaction is higher when I get up in the morning, come physically to the office. There's physically other people here, and there's sort of stuff going on. And it's not just purely, oh, like it's just masking all my mental health issues. I'm sure everyone loves their therapy words in the comments. I'm on my healing journey, Ran. Um,
Aren't we all?
like, but yeah, like I just feel like sometimes some people need to feel like there's like a purpose, and I don't mean purpose in the Simon Sinek way. It just feels like I'm doing stuff for a reason, and that reason is selected by me. And so I prefer to have, like last week I really loved Sunday to Thursday. I worked pretty hard. And again, working hard means like solving problems at the pace that I feel like, but in an exciting way. And then Friday, I just went to a spa for the full day. Like just that vibe I like. I also no longer differentiate between weekends and weekdays. I just, when I have the excitement about work, I work. When I don't have the excitement about work, I don't work. Um, I've also basically stopped drinking alcohol, which has been amazing for my brain. Dude, when I drink alcohol, I get so worried all the time about everything. Like, and I'm talking about if I have a beer the
Oh,
next
a
day,
single beer, a single beer. Or it's like, I'm Irish. I never drink just a single beer.
Oh no, so if I do binge drinking, if I drink like Friday night sort of 4, 10 drinks, I'm fucked. But I'm 35 and I have a child, so I'm talking about dad drinking levels where it's like, oh, let's have a wine with dinner, or let's have 2 beers here and there. I I now notice how much this makes me less happy, which is interesting.
I heard you say that on your, I don't remember if it was on a podcast or a blog or something like this. And I was really, I know all of the science and I hear all of the podcasts, but then I think about my actual experience. Again, I'm not Irish, and I'm not.
It doesn't happen to everyone. I'm not Irish,
but no, I mean, I don't do. I haven't done binge drinking since I was 16 or something. But that's so. I either drink, a glass of wine with dinner, or I like to make an old fashioned, kind of like sometimes maybe once a week or something. Old fashioned, with like a snack in front of the TV, Netflix, and chill with my wife. So, and I'm trying to pay attention when I do that. And again, because I don't drink a lot, I can have one drink, like, and then I will be kind of like buzzy, but I still wake up. I still wake up. I still get my 7 hours of sleep, and I sleep well. I still wake up 6 a.m. and do my workout and all of the other things. Yeah. And so I honestly, I don't think
I don't think you have an issue with it then.
I don't.
Dude,
I don't.
I have this 8 Sleep, the 8 Sleep cooling mattress cover thing.
Okay.
I had 99 sleep last night. You don't know the 8 Sleep?
No.
Dude, every podcast on the planet talks about the 8 Sleep. Like every episode of
I'm not in the I don't know if to say if I'm against it, but I'm not in the tracking myself.
I understand, and I also was out of it for a long time. The 8 Sleep itself is more about the body temperature. It keeps your temperature the correct temperature through every sleep phase, and it's unbelievable. Like, it stopped my restless movements and stops all your wake ups. But what I will say is, if you have one drink and then just go to bed, you're going to have like a 60 score, even if you sleep for 8 hours. Because like your heart is beating at a different rate, like everything. Like, by the way,
see, here's my problem. But here's my problem. See, from my experience, for my untracked experience, I'm doing great and I'm feeling great, and I can perform and everything. And now I will start tracking myself. Even without tracking myself, just reading your post, I was just like, I had this guilt, like, oh, I should do better, although I'm fine. And then if I'm going to track myself and then see, oh, I'm 60, oh my God, I need to get it back to 99. So it's just adding stress and guilt to my life. And I feel like I need to get rid of that.
Understand what you mean.
Because I feel guilty about so many things already. I mean,
the thing about alcohol is I do still drink. What I'm talking about is, especially in Berlin, dude, almost every single person I know has one drink every single day.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, let's just have a beer. Let's have a wine. And I'm talking about that. So I went to Sardinia a couple of weeks ago. I have no idea. And I was there for 10 days, and me and my girlfriend were having maybe 1 to 2 drinks with dinner every night. Totally fine for about 4 days. And then I started to notice, I'm starting to feel a bit like nervous. I'm starting to feel a bit weird and a bit like anxious. And I'm like, fuck, it's the alcohol. It's the fucking alcohol. It really, but that does not happen to everyone. It very particularly triggers very strong sense of unease in me after a few days. So yeah, I don't think I love alcohol, and if I came over and visited you, I will sit there and have an old fashioned for sure. I just want to be now more conscious that to not accidentally get into the habit of just having a drink here and there. It's like, I want it to be very specific. I am drinking a beer today, and that's happening. And I realized,
I think I would call it the health podcasting culture nowadays. It's kind of like, feels like everything is all or nothing. Either you eat healthy or you're an asshole, or you work out, or you don't drink alcohol, or you're
drink athletic greens, or
but you're a
die.
fool. Oh, you're a fool. You're ruining your life. And I was just like, why can't we all just get along?
Think that, dude, I don't work out. I don't do anything. I'm the opposite of that. I actually I'm not thinking about alcohol for health reasons. It just makes me less ambitious.
Yeah.
So when I
All right.
drink, I'm less, when I drink alcohol, I love it in the moment. But overall, when I'm drinking relatively regularly, and when I would say regularly, I would say, let's say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, having one or two drinks, it lowers my ambition dramatically. And that's what I'm actually talking about. The health shit
So
actually
I
it
think
does give me
you just need
heartburn.
the issue is self-awareness. And I think this
Yeah.
is, by the way, one thing that my coach got me to do in the last few months, which is I'm doing kind of like daily documentation. So at the end of every day, I would like write what I accomplished
Loser.
and what I struggled. Anyway, now I basically put like an emoji at the end of the day. Like, how did you feel today? Were you happy? Were you angry? Were you frustrated? Was it a bad day, good day? And that helps you bring awareness to, number one, if I'm feeling bad, hey, what did I do that maybe contributed to that? And
Yeah.
also kind of like recognize patterns. So I think it's about self-awareness. If you realize, oh, for me, alcohol makes me feel bad. For me, it's about what I eat. For me, it's about
Spending time with people you don't like, but you feel like
exactly.
you have to spend time with.
For me, it's talking to people. So
People like
just
Jonathan.
no, no, it's the other way around, right? This podcast is to remind me that I actually like to talk to people.
Do you think can I go pee and come back? Like,
Yeah, actually, let's wrap it because I have to go
are you
to.
sure?
I'm meeting somebody for lunch, but let's do part
Okay.
two. Let's do part two in a few
I
weeks.
really enjoyed this. I really hope someone gets something out of this. I'm always because I am
I
used
have
to
to
doing
tell you,
this.
can I give you feedback on this
Yeah.
podcast?
Yeah.
You were very kind of like value conscious. You were like on your own podcast, you're just talking, and here you're like, if
I'm worried
everybody's
about your
listening,
audience.
no, don't worry about it. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about it.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
but just yeah,
Because
you can have
sometimes when I'm
fun.
on like designer podcasts, people complain to me that I talk about nothing,
Okay, that's
which I
okay.
like to do.
I really liked your product breakfast podcast because it was just fun, good, as you said, fun to listen to while I'm on my bicycle and
Thanks,
just
dude.
feel like I'm hanging out with people that I like
Okay,
and
but
see what's up with their life.
most important question: what do you think of my teeth?
They look fantastic, man. Good job. It was really, well done for taking in the effort and working through
I
that
had
painful
braces
period.
for the
Yeah,
last
I've seen it.
year and a half. Everybody.
Yeah, well done. Looks
Yeah.
great.
Such a game changer.
Okay.
Honestly, if anyone's listening to this, the last piece of value, if you're not happy with your teeth and you're over 35 and you feel like you're going to be a loser wearing braces, fucking do it. I feel so
Fucking
much
do it.
better. I don't care
Amazing.
if it's like a, a visual thing and it's vague, a vein. I like it. Brand,
Well done for doing it.
thanks so much for having me on the podcast. This was really
Dude,
cool.
I'll ping you again and we'll do it again because I had so much time. I had so much
I
fun
really
time.
enjoyed this. Thank you.
Me too. Me too. Talk soon. Bye, man.
Bye.